Welcome to the Team Blue Tesla podcast. My name is John Wonderland.
I'm Jon G,
and we are two Tesla owners. We both have Model 3s, and we found out by accident at a family event we're actually related to each other.
Yep.
So I was actually talking to his dad, and who happens to be my brother-in-law, who is. We were just talking. We told him we got a new car, and I said it's a Tesla, and he said, "Oh, Jonathan's got a Tesla." I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "What color is it?" He said, "Blue," and I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yep.
So then we had got together at a family reunion and pulled up and have the exact same car. So that was interesting.
Oh, close enough to exact. Yours is a lot faster than mine.
Yeah, well, they're
Stealth performance.
you can't tell the difference.
No, actually, not even sure which. Actually, I'm pretty sure that one's yours.
I think so.
But yeah, I can't tell the difference from just looking at them.
Yep.
Unless you got yours badged.
I did now, so
nice.
you can tell in the back.
Yep.
So why don't you talk about your? So when did you do the reservation?
I did it February of 2017.
Was that, I forget what the date was. What was the first date it was available?
I think it was available in I can't remember when the reservations first opened up, but I think they were actually in 2016.
Okay.
That they kind of did the first unveiling, and they opened up reservations, and people were in line at the stores to get their first reservation.
Yeah.
But I kind of started looking into Tesla right around, actually shortly after the election, presidential election.
After 2016? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looking for something to restore my faith in humanity.
I hear that.
Tesla caught my eye, and I liked what they're doing with pretty much everything.
So did you know of Tesla before that, or did you just is that when you came across them?
I'd heard about them back when they're doing the Roadster and just coming out with the S. And I thought it was pretty cool, but I never really actually looked that far into it.
Yeah.
I remember thinking this would be a cool company to invest in when they're about $33 a share. I thought that's too risky; they might go under. And now I'm kicking myself for that. Yeah. That would have been nice.
It's like, wish you had gotten into Bitcoin too.
Yeah. Yeah. Bitcoin, when you first hear about it, and get like a 10,000 Bitcoin and sit on it for so you're a millionaire.
Oh well. I've been following them for quite a while. When the Roadster first came out, I was just, I loved the looks of that car. It was just amazing. And I've been following Elon Musk, and I would have been a day one reservation holder, except they hadn't said whether they're going to do an all-wheel drive version of the 3 or not. And a week later, they said yes, there'll be an all-wheel drive. So I was a week one reservation holder.
Oh wow!
Not a day one, week one.
I didn't know that you were on it that soon. Or quickly. Wow.
Yeah, got pretty early, and then the performance came out. I've always been into sports cars, and they announced the performance, and then they released the specs on the performance. And I'm actually, I kind of did the reservation for the Tesla. I wasn't even for sure I was going to get one. Mm-hmm. And then I read about the specs for the Performance Model 3, and I was like, and I had a little bit of money from my inheritance money, and I was like, that's what I'm going to use this money on. So yep. I have the Performance Model 3. I've got the Stealth version, which is which it looks, you can't tell a difference from the Stealth performance versus any other Model 3. But
as opposed to the most performance cars, I have the performance rims and
the upgraded wheels
calipers.
And brakes.
Do you have the red calipers on yours?
No, just yep, yeah. No, you can't. If you look exactly at our cars, there's no difference.
Nice.
Inside or out, really.
Yeah, until you leave the line.
Until you leave the line. Yes, yeah. So.
I remember when you were going through that difficulty with the delivery. Oh God. And about to pull the plug.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you don't want to do that.
He talked me out of abandoning ship on Tesla. My delivery date got changed 6 different times, and I couldn't believe how bad the customer service was for Tesla, and I couldn't get a hold of them, and my delivery guy wasn't much help, and one time I would have driven down. They said, okay, your date is on this Friday. I forget, but it was in October of 2018. And I got the notice, and they didn't tell me to change, but I was like, based on my experience with these guys, I'm going to call. And sure enough, it wasn't there yet. And they're like, okay. every time I had to call, and then finally they called me and said, your car's here. I said, are you looking at it?
Yeah.
He said, yes, it's here. So then I drove down the next day and picked it up. And that was actually one of my first experiences, not great experiences. The service center, they weren't very busy, but it was actually after their third quarter when they were super profitable.
Big push.
The big push.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons that they kept, jerking it around. They were really trying to get my car delivered, but they didn't quite make it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that got me into it was the thing that made me pull the trigger was they extended the unlimited supercharging for life one more week, and I was just like, okay, I'll do it. But that's actually another not great story of trying to get that. I have unlimited supercharging for life, but when I first got the car, I was being charged for supercharging. And I was like, hey, I've got this. And apparently my delivery specialist didn't enter in the referral code.
Oh, really? Because
when I got it, it was the last time when you had to use a referral to get the free supercharging. And so apparently he hadn't. Luckily, I had an email. Yeah. I had emailed him and said, I don't see a place to put the referral code. And he said, oh, I did that for you. And I was like, okay, great. So luckily, I forwarded that email to customer service after like 7 phone calls and emails, and they fixed it, and now I'm not getting charged anymore. Anyway.
Nice. So whose referral code did you end up using?
I used Ryan McCaffrey, the Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't know you had one at that time. I totally would have used yours.
Yep. I have another aunt and uncle. It'd be my dad's sister's husband. So they got a Model X, but I didn't have my Model 3 yet. And so another brother of mine, he bought a used Model S and had a referral code. So they used his, even though I'm actually the one that introduced them to Tesla and got them hyped up about it and got them to buy it pretty much. And so yeah, I could have potentially had 2 if I would have gotten my car just a little bit earlier. Yeah. And
those early referrals had there was a lot of really nice benefits.
Yep.
Now it's like 1,000. I think it's 1,000 miles free supercharging.
Yep.
Yeah, we can put our referral codes in the bottom. Do you have any referrals yet?
No.
Okay, I've got one. So.
Oh, really?
So
nice.
my sister, which is another funny story, but my sister, I sent her pictures of my car and she's been interested in Tesla for a while, and then she decided she called me from the service center, or not the service center, the what do you call the
delivery center,
the showrooms.
Oh, showroom, yeah.
Yeah, she was at a showroom, and they were looking at the cars and all excited about it, and said, we're gonna get one. I was like, oh, great. So she decided to get the all-wheel drive, and this was in June. And that's right when they brought the Stealth Performance back. Mm. And at the time, I think it was like $1,500 more from the all-wheel drive to the Performance. I was like, you got to get this, because the resale value on that alone would make up that. So she got it, and then she sent me a picture. She got the same exact car. And now she's got the same. My license plate is part of my last name. She ended up getting my exact license plate too.
Oh, really?
So I'm gonna have to
different
drive,
state. I'm guessing.
Different state. Yeah, gonna have to drive to Florida so we can.
Nice. Put them next to each other. That's
so
awesome. Yeah, when I showed up to pick mine up, the delivery specialist or whatever is like, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of blue ones. I really love the color. It's great. Because we're talking out in front of the showroom for a little bit. We walk back to where the cars are being staged. There's like 4 blue Teslas right there. He's like, seriously, I don't see that many like this. So yeah, it's a popular color.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it seems like they're all popular lately. In Madison, I've been seeing Model 3 almost every single day now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's 2 Teslas right by where I work. 2 Model S's actually. One that's always down Main Street, and the one that's in the Shop Bob parking lot. So, not Model 3s, but yeah, you're definitely seeing a lot more of them, which is nice.
Yep. I actually just went to the Tesla meetup in Madison, and there was almost 20 Teslas there.
Nice.
It was crazy. We like filled up one whole room of the restaurant. You know, it was almost too many people. You couldn't even talk to each other.
Was that at Doolittle's?
Yeah, the East Town Mall. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that, but I had something else going on, so can't remember.
There was a Generation 1 Roadster there too.
Oh, really?
That was cool. Yeah, I'll show you a picture of that later.
Yeah, I'd really like to see is a Gen 2.
Yeah.
Whenever that comes out.
I'd like to have a Gen 2.
Yeah.
Maybe this podcast will take off. We'll make so much money we can buy a couple of Roadsters.
Yeah, we could get 2 blue Roadsters.
Yeah, there we go.
Or you'd have to stick with blue now, I guess.
You know, we have to.
Really,
right.
You know.
We didn't think that through.
Yeah, now we're kind of stuck. Oh well.
Oh well.
It's a good color.
So why don't we? The one thing I wanted to do is talk about. So we talked a little bit about getting the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk about what your experience was when you first got the car? Do you remember what it was like? Of course, it's been over a year now for you, right?
Yeah, I got mine August 1st, 2018. So I remember going through with the delivery specialist and all that stuff, and they went through it, pretty well. But I still kind of, when I pulled into a parking spot and just kind of played with everything for a little while. Then I remember I was getting on an on-ramp, and this was in Chicago or Highland Park, and I floored it, and just the first time flooring it was just like, before that I drove a Civic with the stick shift, little 4-banger engine, and it was a change, it was a difference. I haven't had
surprise.
Yeah. So I haven't had my Harley V-Rod, which had a bit of power, and it was probably about as fast 0 to 60 as yours, but I wasn't used to that in a car.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And kind of like for a moment there, I've never spent that much money on anything ever before, so yeah, it was kind of like a split second of like, oh my god, I hope this is worth it. Like I just spent a ridiculous amount of money on a car. Yeah. And then about 5 minutes down the interstate, I'm like, it was worth it.
Yeah, this is the performance is more than 3 times more than I've ever spent on a car before.
Yep.
Too, so it's like, but it's such a different experience. It's leaps ahead of other cars.
Oh, yeah.
And people just don't get that, and it's funny, every time, what's the first question you get when somebody asks you about your car?
There's been quite a few of how does it start in the winter? It's like I guess that's one that sticks out in my mind the most, just because if you know about Teslas, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I can see where somebody who knows nothing about it.
Right.
And so I always try to explain it like, well, you know how your car doesn't start typically because of the battery. Polar vortex got down -30. Right. If you plugged your car into the wall, you'd be able to start it no problem, or had the battery on a charger. It's like, well, this battery is about, I don't even know how many kilowatt hours a car battery is. I'm guessing it's not very much.
Probably not even 1.
Probably not. Yeah, so it's like this battery is basically 100 times larger.
It might be 1.
Yeah.
Might be like 1 kilowatt.
So then 76 times larger. So it's like the cold loses some capacity, but it's far more. Yeah. So it's like, it starts. Yeah. In fact, it never really stops.
Right.
So
my first question is, people are always like, "What's the range of the car?"
Yep.
And it's like I understand it. The Leaf was like the first one was like 70 miles or something.
Yeah, I think it was like 76.
And it's over 300. It's just a little bit less than my last car. I had a G35 from Infinity, and I think that was it was under 400 for sure.
Yeah.
Miles, but of course the big people are all concerned about it, but the great thing about the electric cars, you just charge it in. Now you've got a full tank of gas every single, full tank of gas, electrons,
full tank of joules or whatever. However I put it. Yeah. So it's one thing I always hated was you get in your car and you're heading to work and it's like, oh, I got an 1/8 of a tank of gas, or I gotta stop now, which is really a first world problem, but one that you don't have to deal with anymore.
Right.
And then people ask, well, how do you go long distances, or what are you gonna do when you have to travel, And I drove down to Florida. Yeah. And it was awesome. I basically had the longest I'd ever driven before that was to Sioux Falls, South Dakota from Madison, and I hated it, and I'd always sworn off road trips.
So that was not with the Tesla.
It was not with the Tesla.
Okay.
No. And I always hated road trips. I hated driving long distances. And then so I was going on family vacation to Florida, and then I was like, well, I'll drive, because with the autopilot and all that stuff, it was, just basically put on autopilot and sit back, pay attention to the road.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those people that,
falls asleep.
Yeah, and slams into something, which gets me on to, well, once we start talking about, the news stories or what's in the news with Tesla, there's a thing about that always drives me nuts, but we'll get into that later. But, so, I mean, it was absolutely amazing. We drove 23 hours straight. So supercharging stops were basically, we stopped at one. We went to a TGI Fridays.
So you went with someone?
With my fiance.
With your fiance.
Yep. So we stopped at TGI Fridays, and the waitress comes up and says, "Oh, would you like anything to drink? Like, we'll have water. We'll get this and that, and we'll get to check with our food, please."
Yeah, right.
Scarfed it down, and we're done charging by the time we left.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. The only stops that did kind of suck were the 4 a.m, where everything's closed. And you kind of just get up and walk around a little bit, stretch out your legs.
Yeah, that's one. I do wish there were more. Well, it sounds like they're coming in Florida. I wish there were more superchargers in the big rest stop areas on the interstate. That would be nice. Because I just did a 20. Well, it was 27 hours straight. But I stopped here and there to New Hampshire from Wisconsin, and I did that by myself.
Oh, yeah.
And 27 hours included a few cat naps. I didn't stay awake the whole time, but so I would nap at the supercharger stops. But that was because I had done the same thing the prior year in my Infiniti, and it was night and day. The autopilot is just I like to tell people the autopilot function is like the difference from going for a car without cruise control to a car with cruise control. It's like that much nicer again. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah. Actually, well, I mean, I would say it's more like a car with TAC than going to a car without that, because even with cruise control, you get those people that don't use it, and then you can't use it.
Right.
Kind of, so, the autopilot is just, that's the reason I could do a road trip. Yeah. Because otherwise I would have hated it. Yep. I do remember trying to talk you into autopilot when you first buying the car, and you're like, nah.
I did not get autopilot when I first bought my car, and that was a regret. And I ended up having to. There's a little story on that one. So I wasn't supposed to get autopilot with my car, but I drove home, and the little symbol showed up, and I went to put on cruise, and I looked at the menu options, and I actually had autopilot, even though I hadn't paid for it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I tried it out, and it was just like, it's like giving drugs to somebody to get them hooked. I was just like, I had it until December. So from October to December, I had it for 4 months, but it wasn't a trial. It was just somebody had accidentally turned it on, and I just fell in love with it. And one day, somebody caught it in the back office, like, oh, you shouldn't have autopilot. Boom.
They cut you off.
And literally, I had lunch, and I left, and I was showing somebody. I was with a friend, and we went to take off, and I was like, hit the double step. It's like nothing happened. I was like, wait, what? and then I stopped and looked at the menu structure. I was like, no, they took it away.
Caught you.
So like 6 customer service calls and lots of hold time later, I finally got them to. I just wanted to buy it. I was just like, let me buy it, and they didn't even know how to do that. Really? It was really weird. So finally, somebody figured out, and they're like, and they looked at my configuration. Then they said, "Oh, this is really weird. You've got part of autopilot and part not." So they reset everything, and then they gave me the free trial.
Oh, nice.
And so they had it for whatever, I forget, it was a month.
30 days or something.
I think it was 30 days, and then I bought it. So then everything was fine.
I think they should all Teslas should just come with a 30-day free trial of autopilot, and they would sell like crazy.
Of course, now it's all standard. The regular autopilot is standard now. The only difference now is the navigate on autopilot. Yeah. And I think you like that a lot more than I do.
Yeah, driving to Florida. I mean, you've done your road trips and all that.
I didn't. I actually stopped using it because of. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't always do the movements. I'd say for me it works about 80% of the time, which sounds great, but that other 20% of the time is either annoying or terrifying.
I've never had any.
Haven't
Like,
had any issues with it?
Well, I had.
Or I shouldn't say terrifying.
Yeah.
I think it would be irritating to the like a lot of times what it'll do, it won't I'll be behind a car going slow and I'm like turn and it doesn't turn. It waits. It seems like it waits until a car is coming up and is almost on top of me, and then it comes over and like almost, it doesn't cut them off, but it's close. I'm like, if you would have just gone when I wanted you to go.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I use it quite a bit, and yeah, I guess I've had some of those things where I'm sure people are looking at me like, okay, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, right.
But it's
are you drunk?
Yeah, but it's progressively been getting better. So yeah, it's.
Yeah, I should try it again. I haven't tried it for a couple of updates now.
Yeah, well, and I did you get the latest update with chess and all that?
Yeah, I just got that like in the last week.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm
right.
Yeah, I'm on that early access program that we can't talk about.
Right.
So
that'd be a really good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
People would love to hear that.
Yep, that's just I'd probably lose it.
Right. Yeah, and then they'd be like, no.
I don't know. Maybe if we decide we really want to, boost this thing up and try to get more people to check out the channel, we'll talk about it and I'll lose it. And
yeah.
But if we get enough people, maybe it'll be worth it. But for right now, probably not.
Oh.
But it is.
So you're actually behind. So do you have chess then, or?
No, I don't know.
It's
I don't even know how much
way...
I can kind of say even about like how the update structure works. It's the updates are off.
They're not synced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it is a little bit different.
What are one or two things that you know now that you wish you'd known when you first got the car?
Actually, I'm kind of a compulsive researcher, so I pretty much knew I guess the one thing I didn't really know is people talk about the curb rash on the tires, but every car I've had, I've been able to rub up against the curb. It's like, yeah, who cares? Then again, I didn't really care about those cars. Somebody would, lean against the car or whatever, and I never cared.
Yeah.
So maybe I did scrape my rims a little bit and just never noticed it. But yeah, I never ended up getting curb rash. But when I found out how easy it is to get, I wasn't happy. But
yeah.
It wouldn't have changed my decision.
Right. Well, it's funny how a lot of the people on the forums. Are you on the forums?
I'm on a few.
You're
forums,
on. I know you're on Facebook more.
Facebook and
the
Reddit.
Facebook forum, but
yep.
I'm on the Tesla Motor Club forum quite a bit, and I swear if you put in, I got a curb rash, like most people will just jump down your throat and learn how to drive. Learn how to drive. It's like, no. The thing is that this car, I love the way it looks, but the wheels, the wheel part actually sticks out from the rubber. Every other car I've had, the rubber sticks out, so the rubber hits the curb first.
Mm-hmm.
This car leads with its rims.
Yep.
And rash. Luckily, it's not that hard. I assume have you had the touch-up paint? I'll put that in a link to touch-up paint. There's a Ford pickup truck of all things.
Oh yeah.
That matches the color perfectly. So.
Oh nice.
So I just every time I rash it, I just grab. I keep it right by my car and just yep, did it again, rub it out.
Oh nice.
I mean, I don't. Some people go crazy and they smooth it out with
sand
it and everything, but you can't. If you paint it, you can't. I mean, within like more than a foot, you can't even see that it's a problem. But curb rash. The one thing that I was surprised with, and another thing that you get yelled at in the forums for, is the Model 3 is the loudest car I've ever owned in the garage.
Oh yeah.
When it really, it's sitting there, it's constantly whirring and humming and making all sorts of noise. And I was like, what's going on? Most cars, you shut them off and they're completely down. Mm-hmm. The Model 3 is constant. Well, I'm sure all the Teslas are like that. Yeah. Constantly battery, keeping track of the battery, and there's stuff going on, and it's popping and whirring, and it's kind of crazy. So, and I have sympathy every time, inevitably, it's like once a week somebody says, why is the car making all this noise in the garage? And then I see them get jumped on.
Oh, really?
Some of the crazy... I am a Tesla fanboy, but I'm not somebody that thinks Tesla can do no wrong, and that the cars need to be defended at all costs. I mean, they take care of themselves because they're awesome.
Yeah, I've seen on the Facebook groups people ask questions and you'll get the RTFM, read the manual
Right.
and all that, and it's kind of like, you don't have to be a jerk about it. Like, the
Right.
people we're gonna get a reputation as a bunch of stuck-up assholes if like this is how you respond to people. People aren't used to having to read the manual to drive a car.
Yeah.
But this is a totally different car, so
Right.
you can't have to.
Yep.
So I like, that some people are asking the questions about turn signals and all that, which I think there's other cars I've known that have like the turn signals where they don't lock.
Mm-hmm.
You just press them. But yeah, the two, I don't even know what you'd call it, having like kind of two
two
options.
position,
Yeah, two positions. That's different than
I haven't seen that before.
So, but yeah, so somebody asked that and got jumped on, and so hopefully that stuff stops. I've started, if I see that, I'll take a screenshot of the manual and I'll post it as a picture reply with the page number and all that stuff.
At least show them where to go.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
kind of saying, look, there's a place we can find this without being an ass about it.
Right, exactly.
And I don't say anything else. Just
There are plenty of the. I mean, I think it's kind of symptom of the internet in general. There's a lot of people that like to beat their chest and belittle other people just for the fun of it. I swear, but anyway, but there seems to be plenty on the Tesla forums.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you get enough people that are relatively anonymous and they lose all manners.
Right. So thanks for listening or watching us, and hopefully we'll be back with additional episodes.
Don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed what you saw, and comment below. Let us know what you'd like to see in the future episodes.
Good. Thanks.